Hi everyone, and welcome back. Now, this isn't actually a lesson, it's to answer a question that I believe her name is Yasmin asked in one of my videos. What is the difference between using surface and extrude? So I think that's surface extrude and solid extrude. So I'm going to show you now. We're going to start off by just creating a simple circle cutter for this lesson. So I'm set my circle over offset 1 over offset 3. Okay, now I'm going to finish my sketch. Now using the solid extrude, if I'm to go in, if I was to select this, it would attempt to extrude everything within this area because this extrude works within a preset parameter. So I can extrude this, I can extrude this, I can extrude this. So if I was just to extrude now based on these offsets, I extrude that 12, extrude that 3. So what that has made is quite a chunky 1mm thick clay cutter. Okay, let me just undo these two. Now going into this extrude in a little bit more detail and going into some of the options. Okay, so we have two options here, which is a standard extrude and the thin extrude. Okay, so I'm going into thin extrude now, and again this option is in the solid extrude. I'm going to select this in a line, in a shape. Now we've got more options here than here. So we say we want to extrude it 12mm tall, okay, and a wall thickness of 1mm. Let's say we want 0.44 because we want to do a sharp edge cutter, 0.44, and this is put in the wall, see this darker blue, on the inside of the shape. I can change the shape it goes to, so it's on the outside, or I can even make it symmetric. So I'll put half on this side, half on that. So if I'm making a clay cutter, I would want it on side 2. And then I can go back and extrude this by 10 and extrude this by 3. I'm using the keyboard shortcut E just to let you know, which is why you don't see me going up to the toolbar all the time. Okay, and you can see I've made that cutter. Now let's go into that a little bit more detail. Right. So going back to the thin extrude, okay, it isn't just, well, let me select this inside the shape to show you. Well, actually I'll make it this thicker one. Okay, so going into the thin extrude, okay, if I wanted it 12mm tall, and again 0.44. You can see it's making a wall either side of the shape, and it's making inside because we've got side 1. Side 2 would make them both outside, centered, put them both on there. So chance I'm making clay cutters, I can't overly see why you'd need that, apart from maybe in certain cases imprints might be useful, but it's not something that I particularly use. And let's go in and let me just show you one other thing. So with the extrude, I can only select the area. I cannot select the line, okay? It selects the shape if I hit the line. Now with the surface extrude, so this orange extrude here, I can actually select the line. So I can make this 12mm tall. Now, let me just show you before I thicken this. It has extruded extremely thin extrusion, 12mm tall. What the file is basically saying is there's a body here, it's 12mm tall, but we haven't set a thickness, so there's no thickness to it. So if you were to export this STL and attempt to print it, it wouldn't print, and it'd probably come up with an error on your slicer, because, let me just get rid of that pop-up, probably come up with an error on your slicer, simply because, there is no thickness, it does not understand what you ask it to print. So which is why we use a thicken. So Shift and T. So, well, I've got a keyboard shortcut. If you haven't set your keyboard shortcut, you will need to click down on there If this is a tool that you are going to use a lot, I would recommend using a keyboard shortcut. So Shift and T for me. I'm going to select the line, make it 0.44, and always, when I'm personally making cutters, I'll flip back to the solid for these next two, simply because I've got a 1mm area here rather than a thin line to try to do, so it allows me a little bit more movement, so don't have to be so precise with my mouse, in all honesty. It is a way that I will find is quicker to work for me. So I want this 10mm, and I want it to be a join, and let me click OK. E for extrude, because that's a keyboard shortcut, 3, join. So that has made the cutter there. Okay, now I'm going to go back to, and we're going to make this solely with the surface extrude. So I can go back here, and I can make the next extrusion. Let me just open up body so you can see it. So it's currently saying that we've done our thin line extrude. It automatically disappears when you thicken it because it'll convert it to that. But I am setting a 10mm one, so you'll see a new one come up. Okay, and the eye is on there because we haven't actually thickened it. So Shift and T. 1, join. There you go, so it's joined it, so both these are part of the same body, that's now disappeared. So extrude, 3, and T, 3, join. So I've made one body, and there. Now, let me just go back to basics. So the reason why I will tend to, most of my cutters, as long as the design allows, have just a 1mm and a 3mm offset is when I make my cutters, I will offer two cut types, a 0.7, which tend to be good for pretty much anybody to print, and then a 0.4, which does tend to require that you've got good slicing settings, your printer allows it, a 0.4mm nozzle or less. So the reason why I have this is to reduce the amount of offsets and allows me to quickly undo and use just one sketch for two cutting types. So just to show you in real time, I will make my 0.7 first. So 0.7, then E for extrude, and I will select both of these because there's a gap there. Join. I would then right click, save as mesh, save that one to file, and then I would personally just click undo a couple of times rather than anything else. Set that to 0.44, E for extrude, 10, join, E for extrude, 3. So for me, having one sketch that does both cutter types is a lot easier for me, saves me from moving around, saves me, like I can use a lot of keyboard shortcuts as well, so it just saves me a lot of time, especially when I tend to offer my files in multiple sizes as well. So that is that. So let me just go and undo all of the body, so back to basic sketch. One thing as well with this extrude, you don't have to select the line, you can select the shape and make it 12, and it will still just do the thin wall. You can then later thicken as well. Okay, so it does mean that you don't have to have any outside offsets with this particular thin wall. So if I wanted to, I could just make a cutter based on one line alone. Let me show you now. So use surface, 12, again, 0.44, surface. I'm going to select the inside because I don't want to find the line. 1, make sure this is join. And then again, I'm going to select the inside body and thicken. Join. So as you can see, that is now set. Now, to show you in a slightly more complicated cutter, just a little more detail and to show you imprints, how it impacts imprints. Okay, so I've got this shape here. Yes, any small business owners know, as it's September, we must start our Christmas designs. Let's have a look. So let me edit sketch to paste this in. Okay, fab. Just gonna paste it here. And one more. Okay, let me just set offsets to this. So one, I'm gonna leave the last one without offsets. And don't worry, if you are new to Fusion, don't worry about being bamboozled or anything else of yet. Have a play about with your designs. You know, different extrusions work better for different designs. You know, probably nothing's quite impossible if you just stick to one as well. It just might not be the most time consuming. So something you can come back to explore with, learn a little bit more. Okay, so on this one then, we are going to, I'm gonna finish the sketch. So these lines here, if I want them as lines, I can not select the line. Now what I can do, I can select the area, I can select thin extrusion. Okay, I can say 10.5, 10.5 and 0.6 thick. And I want it side 2. Okay, so that's added that. If I want to do the same to this. So what I'd probably do first, I'd cut this little extra bit out. So I'll cut that off just because I don't want that overlapping too much. Okay, and I want this to be the next one, so 10.5. And make sure this is thin selection. And 10.5, 0.6, side 2. It does automatically default to, I am deliberately setting this to new body, not join. Well, actually, I'll set it to join for now. So I'll set it to new body. So you see why. Okay. Select that. Now, the reason why I set it to new body is because if I wanted to get rid of this little section here, as this is in this area, it would delete that. But if I hide, which one are you? That's it. Okay. So if I hide this, I can then get rid of this. Cut that. Put that back in. And I'll get rid of that later because we've got a fair bit of overlapping. And we have got you to go now. This is where it starts becoming a little bit complicated with this particular kind of extrude, you see. Now, I want this particular line running here to go down only. I want this particular line here to be symmetric, so that way it cuts in nicer from there. So in order for me to get this to go down only, I need to cover all this shape. So thin extrude 10.5, and again, it doesn't keep the wall thickness, which the surface extrude does. So side 2, and I'm going to set this to join. Okay, so it's now put that one on there. And we're going to set this one. So 10.5, 10, 0.6. Side 2. So we need this as a join. We then need to cut this inside bit out. 12, fab. And then we got this one and this line here. Okay, so 10.5. So what is this? Not two sides. Right, let me select that again. So then side 2, distance 10.5, 10.5. We don't want to cut, we want a new body because we need to cut this bit out and we don't want to be cutting part of the current extrusions. So that means I have to hide this, cut this. Okay, and we will need to join this, a highlighter all, combine, makes it one body, fab. Now, where we've got the slight issue, what is the wrong thickness? Let me check. 0.6, that's fine. Why have you kept it so thick here? Let me undo a couple. Oh, I left that as 1mm, didn't I? I did not go and correct that, right. 10.5 tall. So 0.6, side 2, new body. There we go, that's a better matching thickness. Extrude, you. Turn you back on. We're going to merge these. So join. Okay, so this one's causing a little bit of an issue here because we want this as a symmetric line. So if I select here, it's going to, let me just show you now. So 10.5, and we want this center, and we want it 0.6. So the issue is it's causing an extra extrusion here that we don't want. So again, if we turn off this body, okay, and I'm just going to make us a new body for now. The issue lies is if we want to cut this off, by all means we can cut this without it impacting anything. Okay, but we're left with this little bit here. If we want to cut this little bit here, it's going to cut part of that. So by all means we can tilt it, we can extrude. Okay, so extrude and say -1, cut it, de-extrude, -1, de-extrude. Let's just cut this bit on top, -12. Okay, so we have now fixed that, but as you can see, it's a bit convoluted, which is why it's not my favorite way. And let's just combine all this now. Selection tool 1, combine, so you can become one body. Fab, so we can go here, cut off the excess, add a couple of supports, so extrude, let's just make you 2, join, and then we can set the walls. Oh, we've got a little bit of a bad body here. So -12 or -1 even will do it. That means you've probably got some the same side as well. So -1. Oops. Right, so this is a bit of a problem. We're going to have to do it from this side because it's joined still to this. So extrude, -1. Deleting all of it. Are you actually joined? As you can see, this is why I don't tend to do it this way, because there's a lot of work that you've got to figure out if you do just stick to this method. because it's joined by such a marginal amount here, it's cutting and impacting the body. And be same this side as well. So let me just get rid of this side now. And we've got this curved area that's going to cause a problem too. Let me just zoom in here so you see a bit better what I'm selecting. So yeah, these bodies are impacting a lot of it. Okay, so you are now cutting. Right, so we could do that for all of that, but as you can see, it's not easy. There's a lot of problem shooting. Another way some people do is, let me just go into edit sketch. They will set the offsets for the sketch line. So 0.6 offset minus 0.6. I'm not going to do all of this because there's a reason why I don't do it this way. Especially when offering multiple sizes, having to set the offsets to everyone, because when you scale an image, obviously the distance does as well. So I'll just show you. So you can, I'm using the extend tool just to close these lines here. So if I wanted, I could go in then and either extrude (10.5). The issue becomes when I'm just going to set the offset for this one here. Now, if you have a look at all these little cross sections here, you want them extruded. So I could either go in and snip them all, or when I have to extrude, I have to make sure I don't miss any of these little areas. So, I'd have to make sure I didn't miss that little square, didn't miss that, and extrude from there. So that's why I don't tend to use this extrude unless it's a solid imprint body, why I don't do that. So what I tend to do is I have to figure out what to extrude first, because we do have to cut off bits. So for example, I'm just using this as a area, so 0.6. Okay, I'm going to use a solid extrude. I've lost the ability to say it. Solid extrude chalkboard key of E, get rid of that. I'm going to do this area and this next, so 10.5, again 0.6 because it's kept the dimensions that I last used. So I can join this because I can cut this off later, so I can join straight away. Okay, and get rid of you. Okay, so I am going to do this bit, these two separate from this. I'm going to make sure it doesn't join, because I'll need to cut off whatever overlaps into this area. So 10.5, I'll show you now. So 0.6, 0.6, not join the new bodies, because you can see we need to cut these off, and I'd never cut that side. So new bodies. Okay, let me just turn this body off for now. Let me get rid of these. So get rid of you, rid of you, cut that. And let me just turn you back on. Get rid of you because I need to cut you. And let's turn you back on. Okay, so we now have this line that we need to offset down. So I'm selecting the line this time, not the shape. 10.5. That's 0.6 down. Perfect. I am happy to join you straight away. And then lastly, this line here, 10.5. So 10.5. Shift and T, and like I said, I want a symmetric one this time, so I don't want it 0.6, I want it 0.3, because each side of the line is going to be 0.3, so it's symmetric. Join. Now, just to let you know, with these ones, they haven't gone all the way over, but that's fine, because it's just 2 small extrusions I need to do. Oh, I did not make you tall enough, did I? So 10.5, shift 0.3, join. So I need to extrude you out one. I need this side here. Extrude you out one. Now, as we can see, we've got a fair bit that we do need to cut off, but that's fine because we've got them in the offset areas, so they're nice and easy to cut off. So we've got these areas down here, here. But so if we select this, and I'll select this to be safe, cut that. So we have all our imprints done. We're going to add a couple of bridges. So again, another reason why I like an extrude is for bridges at times. So I'm going to select this particular area here, because I want a bridge going this way and this way because it supports the majority of the lines. So I'm going to make it 2. I'm going to shift and T. And I'm going to make it 2mm thick. So it goes 2mm thick, this outwards and inwards, supports these lines here and down. And make sure it's join. Okay. And what I'm also going to do, if this was going to be a real cutter as well, well, it is going to be a real cutter, but I've already made it, because this is quite a large cutter, and I would want to support these lines a bit more. So I would go back to solid, extrude, and select these particular areas here, and maybe make you, 2 and join. Or I might just kind of go back to the surface. Let's see how you work. Not line out the area. So 2, shift and T. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Join. So that's pretty well supported. Again, cut off the excess. And then I would just do the wall then. So because, like I said, I offer 2 kind of cutter types. I do my extrusion at 12, I do a 0.7, change it to one side. Join. Oh, E for extrude, which is a solid extrusion keyboard shortcut key. Make that 3. Join. And then I would, this is about here, so right click, save as mesh, and then I would just undo 2 buttons, shift and T, 0.44, make sure you join, and I'm using the solid keyboard shortcut of E, join, E3, and that is my sharp edge cutter then. So as you can see, in order to make this the easiest and quickest, I've used both keyboard shortcuts, not keyboard shortcuts, both extrusions. So just a very quick, easy recap. This solid extrusion is, in my opinion, great for doing solid extrusions in predefined cutoff areas. And surface I tend to use for lines as well, which you can't do in the solid extrusion. So Yasmin, I hope that has answered your query. And by all means, if you are using Fusion 360, find out what works for you. Take your time with it. You know, by all means, if you're new starting it is going to be a long process. You're probably going to do things maybe a longer way around than you will be in a month or two. But you will find not keyboard shortcuts. You will find shortcuts that work for you, and you'll have an idea when you start making designs what ones are going to be quicker depending on what you're doing. Because, for example, not all methods are the easiest. You know, it really does depend on the design, and you just pick and choose. And sometimes when you make a design, you'll start off one way, then you have to undo a few buttons and then do it the other way, and you'll see what works best. But let me know if that answered your query. If you did mean something else, Yasmin, please let me know. But otherwise, we will be doing a lesson next week. Again, it is going to be another imprint cutter, again, a little bit more complicated. But let me know if there's anything else that you'd like to see, or if you guys have any other questions, just pop a comment down below. I will be putting the link to my cult shop down below as well, so you can see my designs. I will be having actually trinket dishes coming to my shop in the next few days as well, so if that's something that you'd also like to see, not just clay cutters, let me know. I've got bead rollers as well to do tutorials on, texture imprint rollers as well. But otherwise, I'll see you soon. Thank you so much. Bye.